October 29, 2025, 3:20 a.m. $10.8 billion in Chinese naval systems. Integrated into Russia's Black Sea defense grid, Ukraine waited for them to activate, then struck with surgical precision. This is how they neutralized China's military exports in one night. This wasn't just another strike. This was a calculated takedown of China's military credibility. Over $10 billion in advanced naval systems, radar arrays, AI-assisted targeting, autonomous defense drones, all transferred to Russia in the past 18 months. Beijing called them the tip of the spear of strategic dominance. Ukraine proved that claim was a lie. Today I'm breaking down how they did it. The patience, the precision, the devastating impact. Let's dive in. Let's start with what China gave Russia. Over $10.8 billion in naval technology. Advanced sonar arrays for submarine detection. AI-assisted targeting systems for precision strikes. Autonomous defense drones with swarm capabilities, all integrated into Russia's maritime defense grid. This wasn't just equipment sales. This was Beijing's Maritime Expansion Cooperation Initiative, designed to bolster Russia's weakening naval capabilities. The systems were deployed across key zones: Sevastopol, Novorossiysk, parts of the Caspian Operational Theater. China marketed these systems as cutting-edge, unmatched reliability in active combat zones, superior to Western alternatives. The future of naval warfare. Countries across Asia and the Middle East were watching. Pakistan, Egypt, Indonesia, Vietnam, all potential buyers of Chinese military technology. This was China's chance to prove their systems in real combat, but it was also their biggest vulnerability, because Ukraine was watching too. And they were planning something unprecedented. Ukraine's Cyber Command identified a critical flaw: the integration between Russian vessels and Chinese systems, specifically the BeiDou satellite navigation system. Russia had rapidly integrated Chinese technology to offset sanctions, but speed created vulnerabilities, shared digital keys, update protocols dependent on Chinese infrastructure, synchronization routines that relied on BeiDou satellites. This created a lattice of exploitable weaknesses. Ukrainian analysts spent months mapping these systems. They tracked digital signatures of Chinese components. They ran simulated attacks in controlled environments. They identified the exact moment of maximum vulnerability, when the systems were fully active but not yet battle-tested. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Wait for full integration. Wait for operational status. Then strike at the synchronization protocols, not to destroy the hardware physically, but to overwrite system firmware remotely. Leave the equipment inoperable without visible damage. This would be more devastating than physical destruction, because it would prove the systems themselves were fundamentally flawed. The timing had to be perfect. Too early, and the systems wouldn't be fully integrated. Too late, and Russia might discover the vulnerabilities. Ukraine waited, watched, prepared. October 29th, early morning hours. Ukrainian cyber units initiated the operation. Codename: Neptune Shadow. The attack vector was brilliant. Signals injected into maintenance update packets, masquerading as routine diagnostic requests. Russian operators saw nothing unusual, just standard system checks from Chinese contractors. But these weren't standard checks. They were Trojan horses carrying malicious algorithms. The first target: BeiDou synchronization protocols. Ukrainian code infiltrated the satellite communication links, then deployed firmware rewrite algorithms. Navigation tables were corrupted with false data. Ships began miscalculating their own coordinates by up to 40 nautical miles. Imagine commanding a vessel that thinks it's somewhere completely different. Your radar shows one position, your navigation shows another. You can't coordinate with other ships. You can't execute tactical maneuvers. You're effectively blind and lost. The second wave targeted AI-assisted targeting systems. These systems rely on constant data feeds: position, speed, environmental conditions, target tracking. Ukraine corrupted the data streams. The AI systems began generating false targeting solutions. Weapon systems couldn't lock onto actual targets. The third wave hit the autonomous defense drones. These drones operate in coordinated swarms. They communicate constantly to maintain formation. Ukraine disrupted the communication protocols. The swarms lost cohesion. Drones became isolated, unable to coordinate, unable to defend effectively. All of this happened simultaneously, across multiple naval zones: Sevastopol, Novorossiysk, Caspian positions. Within minutes, over $10 billion in systems were compromised. By 4:05 a.m., Russian naval command centers were in chaos. Communication blackouts across multiple zones, ships losing navigation integrity, targeting systems generating nonsensical data. Intercepted naval communications revealed the panic. One verified message: invisible assault, total blindness. Another: navigation recalibration routines have failed. Russian commanders tried emergency protocols, but the protocols themselves relied on the compromised systems. It was a cascading failure, each system dependent on another, each one corrupted. By 4:40 a.m., Russian forces resorted to Soviet-era analog systems. But these systems couldn't coordinate in real time. They were designed for a different era of warfare, slower, less precise, completely inadequate. Civilian satellite imagery captured the aftermath. Scattered formations near the Crimean coastline, ships drifting, unable to maintain tactical positions, evidence of complete disruption of fleet cohesion. Russian naval readiness in the Black Sea dropped to its lowest level. Operational capacity was effectively zero. But the real damage wasn't just operational, it was reputational. China's advanced systems had failed spectacularly, in the exact scenario they were designed for: active combat conditions, real-world threats. And they had been defeated without a single missile fired. The implications spread rapidly across the globe. In Beijing, emergency meetings convened. Chinese defense officials scrambled to understand the breach. Initial findings pointed to a subcontractor vulnerability, but the damage was done. China's narrative of technological superiority was shattered. Countries that were considering Chinese naval systems paused. Pakistan, Egypt, Indonesia, Vietnam all began internal system reviews, all questioning the reliability of Chinese technology. Defense markets reacted immediately. Stock indices linked to Chinese defense manufacturers dropped. Investors reassessed China's technological reliability. Across Europe, NATO briefings focused on the implications. Ukraine had proven that code can be more powerful than conventional artillery, that cyber warfare can neutralize billions in hardware, that asymmetric tactics can defeat technological superiority. For Russia, the consequences were immediate and severe. Naval operations in the Black Sea were paralyzed. The fleet that once dominated the region was now vulnerable, unable to coordinate, unable to defend effectively. Moscow's official statement downplayed the incident: temporary network malfunction. But independent satellite data contradicted this. Visible reduction in naval and air patrols, ships remaining in port, reduced operational tempo. The evidence was undeniable. For China, this was an unprecedented reputational setback. Billions invested in promoting defense exports, marketing campaigns emphasizing reliability and superiority, all undermined in a single night. International defense contracts faced delays. Recipients of Chinese maritime technologies began emergency audits. The Made in China label in military technology was now questioned. Ukraine's achievement went beyond tactical success. This was strategic warfare at its finest. They had demonstrated several critical capabilities. First, advanced cyber warfare capability, the ability to infiltrate and corrupt sophisticated systems, without physical access, without visible damage. Second, intelligence superiority, months of reconnaissance, mapping digital signatures, understanding vulnerabilities better than the manufacturers. Third, patience and timing, waiting for the perfect moment, maximum integration, maximum impact. Fourth, asymmetric thinking, not trying to match Russia's naval power, but finding the weakness in their foreign dependencies. The operation sent multiple messages simultaneously. To Russia, your foreign suppliers can't protect you. To China, your technology isn't battle-tested or reliable. To potential Chinese customers, think twice before buying. To NATO allies, Ukraine is a Tier 1 cyber military power. Ukrainian officials maintained strategic restraint, acknowledging significant disruption of hostile surveillance and targeting capabilities, but not mentioning China by name. This preserved deniability while signaling clear victory. President Zelensky's statement was symbolic. We fight not with power, but with purpose. The message was clear. Intelligence and resilience can overcome daunting odds. Technology without security is just expensive vulnerability. And Ukraine had proven they could exploit that vulnerability perfectly. The long-term implications are still unfolding. Russia's naval capabilities remain compromised. Months later, full operational capacity hasn't been restored. The integration of Chinese systems created dependencies that became fatal weaknesses. China's defense export ambitions suffered a major blow. global buyers now demand additional security guarantees, independent audits, vulnerability assessments, backup systems. The cost of Chinese military technology just increased dramatically, not in price, but in trust. Ukraine demonstrated a new model of warfare, where cyber capabilities can neutralize conventional superiority, where patience and intelligence trump raw firepower, where understanding your enemy's dependencies is more valuable than matching their strength. This operation will be studied in military academies for decades. As the moment when cyber warfare proved its strategic value, as the moment when China's military export model was exposed, as the moment when Ukraine showed the world how to fight smarter, not harder. This operation redefined modern warfare. Ukraine proved that $10 billion in technology means nothing without security. They showed that cyber warfare can achieve what conventional forces cannot. They demonstrated that asymmetric thinking defeats symmetric power. The lessons are clear. Foreign military dependencies create exploitable vulnerabilities. Cyber capabilities are now essential to national defense. Intelligence and patience can overcome technological superiority. And in the age of digital warfare, the smartest force wins. Not the strongest, not the richest. The smartest. What impressed you most about this operation? The cyber warfare sophistication, the strategic patience, the geopolitical impact? Drop your analysis in the comments. If you want more deep dive military analysis, hit that subscribe button.